In the heart of Nigeria, in a bustling village, there lived a woman named Onyeka. She was known far and wide for her extraordinary beauty, her radiant smile, and her kind heart. Onyeka lived a simple life, finding joy in the little things around her. One day, while Onyeka was going about her business, she caught the eye of a handsome and wealthy man named Ade. He was instantly captivated by her grace and charm. Determined to win her heart, Ade approached Onyeka with respect and admiration. They soon began to spend time together, sharing stories and laughter. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, their bond grew stronger. Onyeka found herself falling deeply in love with Ade, who cherished her every moment. Their love was like a blossoming flower, spreading joy and happiness wherever they went. In due time, Onyeka and Ade were blessed with a beautiful daughter who they named Amaka. She had her mother's captivating eyes and her father's infectious smile. Their little family was filled with love and laughter, creating cherished memories together. Every day, they would all work together, tending to their crops and animals, and at night, they would gather around the fire, sharing stories and laughter. Their home was filled with joy and love. But one day, tragedy struck. Onyeka fell terribly ill. Despite Ade's efforts to get her help, the illness took her away from them too soon. The once vibrant home now felt empty without her warmth and laughter. Ade and Amaka were heartbroken. They missed Onyeka dearly, and their once happy family was now filled with sorrow. However, they found strength in each other. They held on to the memories of Onyeka and found comfort in knowing that she would always be a part of them. In time, Ade realized that Amaka needed a mother's love and guidance. He decided to remarry, hoping to bring back joy into their lives. He found a woman named Nneka who was kind and gentle. Nneka was a widow and had two daughters of her own, named Anuli and Ijeoma. At first, Amaka was unsure about her new family. She missed her mother terribly and was afraid of change. But Nneka welcomed her with open arms, showering her with love and affection. She treated Amaka as her own daughter, and soon Amaka began to feel like she belonged again. Nneka proved to be a wonderful mother figure to Amaka. She helped with her studies, taught her how to cook traditional dishes, and comforted her when she missed her mother. Anuli and Ijeome also became like sisters to Amaka, and together they formed a bond stronger than blood. With Nneka by their side, the family found happiness once again. They laughed together, shared their dreams, and faced life's challenges as a united front. Though they would always cherish the memory of Onyeka, they knew that she would have been happy to see them smiling again. But tragedy struck again when Amaka's father was involved in a fatal accident. Just like that, their world came crashing down once more, leaving Amaka orphaned and heartbroken. But Amaka was strong, just like her parents had taught her to be. With the support of her stepmother and stepsisters, they faced the challenge together, at least for the following weeks. As weeks turned into months, Nneka started to treat Amaka differently. She felt overwhelmed by the responsibility of raising another woman's child, especially when she had her own daughters to look after. Amaka, who had already lost her mother and now her father, felt alone and confused. With time, Nneka's treatment towards Amaka became even colder. She began to see Amaka as a total burden, a reminder of a life she never wanted. Amaka, who had once felt loved and cherished, now felt like an outsider in her own home. They made her do all the chores in the house from sunrise to sunset, while they lounged lazily enjoying the fruits of her labor. Years passed, and Amaka grew into a stunning young woman. Her kindness radiated from her like the warmth of the sun, and her beauty shone brighter than ever. She was far more beautiful than her sisters. Nneka grew jealous of her beauty and made her do even more chores and hard labor, hoping it would wear her out and make her beauty fade. Also, Amaka was often scolded and flogged for the tiniest mistakes and sometimes for no reason at all. But despite the mistreatment, Amaka remained kind hearted and hopeful. She found solace in the beauty of nature around her, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the warmth of the sun on her skin. One day, a big festival came to the village. Once in a while, their village would organize festivals to help young maidens find husbands. Amaka had come of age and felt that she was ready to get married. She longed to attend, but her stepmother forbade her from going, fearing that Amaka's beauty would outshine her own daughters. However, Amaka's desire to experience the joy of the festival was too strong to ignore. So, she sneaked out of the house and made her way to the celebration, disguised in simple clothes. As Amaka wandered through the festival, people couldn't help but stare in awe at her beauty. She danced gracefully to the rhythm of the drums, and her laughter filled the air with joy. Everyone was captivated by her presence, and whispers of admiration spread throughout the crowd. But when Amaka's stepmother found out that she had attended the festival, she flew into a rage. She dragged Amaka back home and beat her mercilessly, hoping to crush her spirit once and for all. However, the damage was already done. Amaka's beauty had been witnessed by the entire village, and news of her radiance spread like wildfire. Soon, suitors from far and wide began to visit their home, hoping to win her hand in marriage. Amaka's sisters, who were older and should have been married by now, grew jealous and resentful. They watched as suitors lined up at their doorstep, all eager to win Amaka's hand in marriage. This enraged their mother even more. Determined to maintain her position of power, Amaka's stepmother began to chase away the suitors. That is, until an idea came to her. Why not secure a husband for her daughters from these suitors? She thought. Amaka's stepmother devised a wicked plan. She decided to capitalize on Amaka's suitors by scheming to marry off her own daughters instead. So, she welcomed only the wealthiest suitors into their home, all the while bad-mouthing Amaka and praising her own daughters. She told the suitors that Amaka was lazy and often sneaked out at night to meet different men. She then praised her own daughters, painting them as virtuous and hardworking. Sadly, the suitors believed her lies, turning away from Amaka and choosing her sisters instead. They both got married, leaving Amaka at home. With each rejection, the rumors about Amaka spread like a wildfire throughout the village, staining her reputation and making her undesirable to any man. With a heavy heart, Amaka gave up on love and marriage and decided to focus on building her own future. She started a small business selling peanuts, determined to carve a life for herself despite the obstacles in her path. It was there, amidst the bustle of the marketplace, that she first laid her eyes on him, the handsome stranger with a kind smile named Gabriel. Gabriel was a tailor by trade, his deft hands fashioning fabrics into works of art. He had traveled from distant lands in search of new opportunities, hoping to carve a niche for himself in Amaka's village. Yet, despite his skill and charm, success eluded him, and he found himself struggling to make ends meet. He was very poor. From the moment Gabriel beheld Amaka, his heart was ensnared by her beauty and grace. But whispers of Amaka's wickedness, spread by her stepmother, cast a shadow of doubt upon his feelings. He hesitated to approach her, fearing the rumors were true. But as days turned into weeks, Gabriel could not shake his fascination with Amaka. He watched her from afar, observing her acts of kindness and compassion towards others in the village. Slowly, he began to see through the veil of lies spun by Nneka, realizing that Amaka was not a villainess, but rather a victim of her stepmother's cruelty. Determined to prove his love for Amaka, Gabriel devised a plan. He sought out opportunities to assist Amaka, offering his services as a tailor and lending a helping hand whenever she needed it. Through their interactions, he showed Amaka the kindness and respect she had long been denied, earning her trust and affection in return. As their bond deepened, Gabriel found the courage to confess his feelings to Amaka, laying bare his heart before her. To his joy and relief, Amaka confessed that she too had fallen for him, her love blooming like a delicate flower in the warmth of his affection. Together, Amaka and Gabriel decided to formalize their love and union, determined to overcome any obstacles that stood in their way. Gabriel, though poor in material wealth, was rich in love and devotion for Amaka. He approached her stepmother to seek her blessing for their union. He was, however, worried that she would reject him due to his social class. Surprisingly, Amaka's stepmother readily accepted his proposal, eager to rid herself of Amaka's presence. With taunts and mockery, Nneka belittled Gabriel, refusing to accept any dowry from him. According to her, he was too poor to bring anything of value. Instead, she eagerly set a date for the traditional wedding ceremony, eager to be rid of Amaka once and for all. A few days to the wedding, one of Amaka's sisters, Anuli, was shamefully brought back by her husband. He claimed that she was too lazy and only spent her days eating. He no longer wished to have her as a wife. She bitterly cried, but soon dried her tears upon learning that Amaka's wedding was upcoming. She thought, as usual, her mother would help snatch Amaka's suitor and make him her own. However, this time will be different, her mother advised. The man was very poor. It wasn't worth it. The much awaited day arrived. Nneka and Anuli dismissingly went to the farm and other duties, not lifting a finger to help Amaka in her big day. They scoffed at the wedding, deeming it unworthy of their attention. Despite her family's attitude, Amaka was not willing to let anyone spoil her big day. She called her friends to help out. They worked together in cleaning her compound in preparation for the day. They swept and scrubbed. As they were busy, three posh cars drove into their compound. Their occupants swiftly alighted and began transforming the humble surroundings into a scene fit for royalty. They set up tents, arranged chairs, and put up beautiful flowers. Others began cooking. Amaka and her friends were bewildered. With caution, she approached one of them and asked who they were, wondering if they were lost. To her astonishment, they revealed that Gabriel had sent them to prepare the compound for his wedding. Amaka's heart swelled with disbelief. How could Gabriel afford such extravagance? She wondered. Before the man could finish explaining, another posh car drove in. Inside were beautiful maidens. They approached her with a beautiful dress and shoes and said that Gabriel had sent them to dress her up. Before she had a chance of saying anything, they whisked her away. Villagers who had shunned the wedding due to its poor status began streaming in after seeing the commotion. They were equally surprised at what was going on. One of them, a woman, known for her naughtiness and gossip, raced to the farm to inform Amaka's stepmother of what was going on in her compound. Not believing her ears, they raced back to the venue. As Nneka arrived, her eyes widened in disbelief at the sight before her. Before she could even react, another fleet of posh cars arrived. An old man who seemed to be very wealthy alighted. It was King Odachi, the king of the neighboring region. Behind him was his queen and a very handsome man, who upon closer examination, Nneka realized was Gabriel. How come? She couldn't believe it. Amaka also heard of the commotion and came out of the house. She was equally astonished. There stood the man she loved, in splendor and glory. He was handsome than ever and looked so polished. While still in awe, Gabriel approached her, lovingly holding her hand. He explained that he was a prince, his real name being Prince Abiola and not Gabriel. He had come to her village to seek for a wife and had disguised himself so as to find true love. She was his choice. King Odachi lovingly embraced her, a sign of welcoming her to his family. Everyone was shocked. Tears streamed down Amaka's face. She couldn't believe it. She was too happy to explain how she felt. All the while, Amaka's stepmother and sister were perplexed. They watched in disbelief as the events unfolded. The party began. Amaka, Prince Abiola, and everyone else danced and partied all day. Women ululated and danced, their colorful skirts swirling in time with the beats of the drums, while men clapped and stomped their feet in the rhythm. Amaka and Prince Abiola were showered with blessings and well wishes. The village chief presented them with gifts of livestock and produce, a symbol of abundance and prosperity for their future together. The festivities continued into the evening. The air was filled with the aroma of grilled meats and spicy stews. The dancers moved to the rhythm of the drums, their movements fluid and graceful beneath the light of the flickering torches. And as the night wore on and the stars glittered overhead, the newlyweds stole away from the celebration, hand in hand, their hearts full of love and hope for the future. Together, they embarked on a journey into the unknown, leaving behind the warmth and laughter of the village to begin a new chapter of their lives as husband and wife. But amidst the joyous celebrations, one figure stood alone in the shadows, her heart heavy with regret and anger. Amaka's stepmother watched in silence as the couple disappeared into the distance, her pride and bitterness crumbling in the face of their undeniable happiness. As if to add salt to injury, news reached her the following morning that her other daughter, Ijeoma, had met a tragic end. In a cruel twist of fate, her husband had discovered she wasn't faithful to him. He had angrily taken matters into his own hands and unalived her, leaving behind a trail of grief and despair. Nneka's grief was beyond measure. Truly, when it rains, it pours. And so, the story of Amaka, the resilient poor orphan, became a whispered tale of strength and perseverance. From her, we learn that no one can stop fate. It can be delayed, but cannot be stopped if we remain true to ourselves and keep being the best version of ourselves, regardless of our circumstances.